Okay, everybody listening, let's get going. We've got a lot to get through tonight. You'll be pleased to know there's only one more lecture after this. And next week is so easy. I made it a really quick, easy. We'll be away early because you've got a final exam 4 days later. So we've got a lot of packing today. We're going to start off with a presentation from the amazing Team 5. So I want big applause when they start. Yes, when they start. And if they're any good at all, give them big applause at the end. I'm going to teach you something now. It wasn't on the syllabus, but on the way here, I thought it was pretty important. I feel what is technically known as completely shit. I've got my ears are blocked up, my cold has come back. I thought, I've got all these eager, amazing young people I'm going to spend 3 hours with. What am I going to do? I'm going to teach you something now. Has anybody ever heard of state anchors? Anybody ever heard of a state anchor? A state anchor is something you do, something you see, something you hold, some sequence you go to that is strongly connected to feeling in a particular way. Powerful, confident, full of yourself, whatever it is that you want to be. Particularly useful when you feel, is that a question or are you saying you know state anchors? All right. Okay, so I felt a bit rubbish. I was coming up from the LRT, I thought, what am I going to do? I'll tell you, I used to go all over the world. I had to get money out of people to invest in our companies. I had to get people to buy stuff off us. And I didn't have much leeway. I didn't have a bunch of nice, smart people like you. I would have to go and stand in front of 300 people in an investment conference. And sometimes I didn't feel good. Some people I know have little things they carry around with them. And they take them out and they look at them and they feel better. They have pictures of their kids. They have little stories they tell to themselves. And they tell the story, it's almost a kind of quasi-religious thing. You go through these sequences or you look at things and you feel good. And there's a little technique that you can use, it's mentioned in one of my books, that where you can actually go through the sequence of feeling good and connect the feeling good with that. Well, I'll tell you what I do. I'm not suggesting you have to do it, but it works for me. I have developed a really stupid grin. A big, like this. Great big grin. And I have grinned like that when I've won business. When we've had some fantastic things happen to us. Because you smile like hell, but a really stupid smile. And I've got that grin really heavily associated with feeling better. I feel much better. I don't feel like shit, do I? Because I've done the thing, the grin thing. And it's absolutely fantastic. So please, if you can ever develop your own little state anchor, really, really useful. There's some good stuff in my book. Go and Google state anchors, and there's a few weird ways of doing it. Has anybody got, now you know what it is, a state anchor that they use themselves? To give them confidence, to give them strength? Well, that's good, so I've taught you something. So that wasn't in the syllabus. You do? Is that what do you do?
I take off my glasses.
You what?
I take off my glasses.
And you take it, and what does that make you feel?
I can't see anything without my glasses.
You feel good. That's weird. That is so weird. But it's the whole thing about state anchors. If it works for you, it works for you. You're not trying to, did you try and give me one?
Yeah, so like at home in front of my computer, I have like a picture on my hand with friends.
Marvellous, yeah. And I tell you, when I smile, my grandchildren go into my head. And some of my friends come into my head. And do you know what came into my head? You lot. But I did not put you there. I thought, yeah, it's going to be a good class. But this is cool stuff. State anchors, it's the only reason you got me tonight. Let's see what happens. I don't have much of a voice. That's why I've got my thing on. All right? So we're going to start off, we're going to have amazing Team 5. Then we're going to do the case study. And the people who have not been fully assessed on case study are you. Is that right?
That's it.
And I'm bound to talk to you because I love you. And you lot over there, I come and talk to you. But so everybody's done pretty well, so don't anybody think I'm going to leave you out. I love this case study. Then we're going to do a sketch with, if I can find somebody called Scott, who will volunteer. We're going to do a little sketch which we'll have a talk about. Then we'll have a break. Then we're going to watch a video. We're going to work something out for the video. And then we'll finish. Does that sound all right? That's what I thought you might say. So big hand, Team 5, let's go.
So hello guys, welcome to Ottawa Pet Society annual camp. My name is Leonardo. I am the head of marketing from Bissau. Bissau is the leading manufacturer for floor care products in North America. and we have been associated with Ottawa Pet Society for the past 10 years and providing innovative excellence for pets and their owners' health. Here is our head of communication, Hashita.
Hello guys. So first of all, I would like to ask you a question. How many of you here own a pet? Okay, that's quite a lot. So you guys will be able to relate to my story more. So this happened last year when I was visiting a friend with my pet, with my dog. And then I got a call from my work and I had to leave urgently, and I left my dog at her place. So when I came back, my dog had pooped all over her place, made it a whole mess, and she was really angry and frustrated. So it made me feel embarrassed too, and we took the whole night to clean the mess and to sanitize the place and everything. So I shared this incident with my friend Abdullah, and he came up with some solution.
So being in the design team, we came up with a solution to bring Harshita out of her tragedy and to help all the pet owners of our community. And we present you this Symphony Pet. The Symphony Pet is an all-in-one cleaner, and our product specialist, Charitra, will tell you more details about our product.
So, what does the product do? It vacuum and steam cleans at the same time. And the steam cleaning can highly sanitize your floor. So what if you want to adjust or control your steam heating? We have control techniques for that, which will adjust your heating from low to high. So what happens to the dirt? We have a small tank in our product which will collect all the waste, and guess what? Emptying tank is really easy. All you have to do is pull the river and then the waste goes to trash. So what if your pet makes the worst mess or poop on your floor? We have disposable pads for that, which you can just throw it away after cleaning. So here's a small video of a product demonstrating all these features. Interesting, right? Now I leave the stage to Deshman, the head of sales, to explain the takeaways of our product.
So to sum it up, if you buy this product, you can save a lot of time as it vacuums, it sanitizes, it mops, and it can help you to focus your priorities, and it can save income. It also reduces the risk of getting affected by disease and sick from the dog's hair and its dirty blood. And it also reduces the expense as it is a 3-in-1 product. You don't have to go to the net and browse all these stuff separately. And at last, I want to say one thing. It gives your family a peace of mind and happiness as this product takes care of your dirty job.
It happens. You've got to be able to cope with the PowerPoint going down.
Alright, and I can see here a lot of guys having their eyebrows raising and their eyes wide open. I realize you want to go for it. So here's my friend Manoj, who's the sales expert. He will let you know the rest.
So, hi up guys, what are you waiting for? Here are the registration forms. You can register online too. The first 100 customers will get a free demo of this product at their doorstep. And guess what not? Refer to your friends and your neighbors and get additional 10% cashback on your next purchase. Thank you.
Pretty good. So, I've got lots of notes I've written down here. So what do we think? You guys, or team, whatever you are. Team F. Team second. What do you think? You like the video? The what? Right, so I thought the gifts were the jumpy dog. You just have to have jumpy dog a few times, then stop the jumpy dog. Because I kept looking at the jumpy dog. So little hint, I mean, it was really good. So we're putting extras around here. I love the jumpy dog, but stop it jumping. I tell you how you do that. If anybody wants to know how you do that, if you've got a gift that only jumps, all you do is you get it to jump a few times, and then you get the screen to automatically, 2 or 3 seconds later, go onto a static image of the GIF. You can't control the GIF other than doing it that way. So it's a second screen which has a non-jumpy GIF on it, and it goes blip, 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 and then still, just a little hint there. Yeah. So what do you guys, what feedback have you got? Sorry?
It was a very good presentation.
Can't you say something bad? So did you feel left out? So let's talk about this. Do you remember when I spoke about audience control? What I do is I have so I'm eating a sweet, stop my voice going. I have an imaginary person that I focus on. And in a room like this, I have an imaginary person in them standing about this high in the middle of each desk. So instead of me picking Sarah's eyes, and everybody says, why does he always look at Sarah? He's in love. But I have an imaginary person. And these imaginary people are quite good. If you've got a room with 600 people in, just dot a few of these imaginary people around. And you were catching people's eyes. So try not to catch people's eyes. Now, if you know that Attila is the guy with the money, when you get to the money part, just gently catch his eye and pick him up. So what have you got? You've done you, haven't you? Have we done you? Yeah, what you got? Your feedback?
I think it was an excellent presentation so far.
Nothing bad, all right? This tiny team here. Have you got any feedback? What would make it even better? Nothing, all right? Anything make it even better? I've got lots of stuff here.
Looked like they had rehearsed it a lot of times.
They had a lot? Yeah. I thought, big hand for the rehearsals. I thought the handovers were really good. I love the way, how many times you rehearsed it?
4 or 5 times.
Yeah, it's certainly a minimum. Something like that. What's up? Did I just spit?
I don't know if that's because I'm close, but I think it's the only thing that used better, their voices, like it was loud enough so that it was clear.
No, I thought the diction was very good. And who used notes? Somebody used notes?
Yeah.
Great use of notes. Nothing, remember I said to you in that note I sent out? Nothing wrong with notes. Better to use notes and get it right than not and get it wrong. Feedback?
It was good.
It was good.
They asked the question, how many of you have pets at home? That's a nice way to...
It's a nice way to do the story. What do we think of the story? Well now, the question, could we put the story and the video, it'd be quite fun to segue from the story into a picture of a dog pooping and a carpet. So I'm not saying you should, but it will be interesting. I thought the video was a bit long. Do we all agree?
Yeah.
It was a bit, probably twice as long as it should be, all right? But I mean, obviously you haven't got any ability.
Bored if you had 2 minutes video. So
Yeah, so, but what I'm thinking is if you just had a very short video, you did the story, didn't you? Do the story, oh you did the story, and you did the story and then just go straight into the video. So use the video as an extension to the story. But what it was okay. What do you guys got?
Distribution of forms.
Sorry?
Distribution of forms.
Distribution forms, you like that? Good. Nice fine drivers, yeah. Well, I must admit, I was trying to get the computer going, so I didn't really hear. So did we feel that the end was a bit weak? I think the end, it was such a strong video, it felt from my just hearing the background, I think it could have had a punchy end. So look, there's nothing else out here to do with dogs pooping. But this is an extraordinary opportunity to invest in our company. Oh, sorry, not doing a pitch. It's an extraordinary opportunity to be one of the first people in your road to have this stuff. I think it's such a cool product. I think you could be stronger at the end. You were thrown a bit. So, the PowerPoint went off. I told you the story about when my PowerPoint went off, and you have to be able to do that. And I think you did pretty well. You got any team 3, got any feedback?
You just said.
Oh yeah. You guys?
I just like the fact that they distributed the discounted.
Everybody likes discount coupons. Yeah, so I got down here great handovers. I thought that was really good. Video. Nice music. That was very uplifting music. So a couple of things. I got the tyres. Who did the tyres at the end? Bit raw. Increase your income and improve your state or what. You've got to say it'll cost you less. Don't say less expensive. It's what I call soft tyres. We all are used to tyres, but that's for analysing. You don't talk to people like that. This will reduce your expense if you come and share an apartment with me. No, you don't. You say it's cheaper if you come and we share an apartment. So please, when you're putting your tyres on, put them on there and then get rid of them. You feel happier, you feel safer, it'll cost you less. And so that was a classic mistake, and it actually does illustrate the point. But, and I got a tiny bit, tell them 3, who did tell them 3? That was where you're going to tell them what you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
It was, I think you could have been a bit more firm. Okay, this is an amazing thing. We could talk to you about it for hours, but my colleague, whoever it was that did it, is going to tell you about the key functions that it has. I just felt they were all good, but yours was the least good of the good lot. I just didn't feel I was being introduced to 4 and 5. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Cool. Otherwise, I thought that was the best I've seen. Yes, here we go. Cynthia Jackson's dilemma. Okay, so Peter Fire supported the proposal and set it up. Cynthia Jackson approved it. This is the cool bit. The product was a huge success. And the reason it was a huge success was because they'd done the marketing, the first section of the 3 sections. The marketing was spot on, which is why I said to you I was so shocked at people spending $1,500 to $4,000 just to water the bloody lawn. I can't think of spending $4,000 watering my lawn. But I get people prepared to pay that. They'll be prepared to spend $1,200 on a unit, yeah.
I have a question. When you read this case study, I think it's an important point. The data they rely on the HVAC department.
Yes, that's very true. All right, so what he's saying is they used some internal expertise, which was one of the CEO's. I haven't mentioned all the things he did, but one thing he did, he encouraged interdepartmental cooperation. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but maybe the senior executive, because in the case that they mentioned, they didn't accept that this filtration unit, they will take the data from because maybe their customers, since they failed 2 times, in case they agreed, okay, we'll go ahead, we give them.
That's true. So what he's saying, I don't think anybody's hearing it, is the first section, which was the market analysis, was with the help of HVAC, who of course are talking to consumers all the time. And they say, what, $4,000 on a lawn sprinkler? No problem. So yeah, thank you, that's a really good point. Did you get that really good point? Yes, I'm sure you did. And it was a big kicker for the water division, and they went on and they had more offerings and they presented more. So I just want to say my key to success, this is kind of my idea. Market analysis. So what's the want, need, afford cycle out there? So you go into this area, let's look at this market. Do they want it? Yes. Do they need it? Yes. Can they afford it? No. Well, let's not go there. Go to another market, see if you can build up the whole cycle. Once you've done that, you say, okay, we know the tyres, we know there's a cost benefit, then actually what features and functions do we need to build? And what's the alternative to features and functions? What's the alternatives to spending money on features and functions? Tyres, no. So I've got a telephone. How can I make this telephone more viable?
Oh, by adding...
By adding stuff, so it's on the board. So you create an offering by adding other stuff to it, which is not it doesn't involve the money to be spent. And then down here, this is marketing, sales, partnership, timeline, funding. This is business plans. This is not a business planning class, but that's really what we're about. If you get those 3 right in your business units, in your entrepreneurial ideas, you're in pretty good shape. Now, this is 1, 2, 3, and I know that Oleg mentioned about coming up with some rapid prototypes, and it's even mentioned coming up with something. One of the divisions, the HVAC, was it, that used to come up with a few thousand or something and give it a try. What were you going to say?
From the CEO's
point of view, my question is, there is already an unsatisfaction between the business units. How is he going to deal with that fact?
I don't understand when you say there's a dissatisfaction between them.
In the last paragraph of the report, it was given that the people of under...
Oh yes, they wanted to
Yeah,
stop.
they
Yeah,
wanted
it's a
to-
very good management question. I haven't really thought about it. How would you deal with that? That's what you say. When the prof doesn't know the answer, you say, how would you deal with that?
As a CEO, I'd probably show them the analysis and prove to them, but then it doesn't...
I think it's what I would do. I would show them, it's a bit like last week with the decision-making chart, with the grid, which you used to justify why you selected
But
that
then again,
section.
I don't have the results with me. How would I prove to them that this is actually going to work?
I'd say, I'm the CEO, you do what I bloody say. That's my style. No, I think you would. You'd sit down with the heads of the departments and say, look, I've made this for the following decision, because with the help of HVAC, we've improved the marketing, we've managed to improve the connection to the engine development team, so they're going to come in with the technical side, and we know we're really good at selling shit because we're an $11 billion company. I think...
On the other hand, you've got 2 failures.
You're miserable old thing. Why try? Yeah.
I have a question just on the...
We delegate.
On the financial side, though. So they're losing $6 million a year. The beta batch is going to cost $2 million, and in their first year, their forecasted sales is 5.5.
Yes, beta.
So they're still going to be losing
Correct.
money for an extended period of time. If I, how do
I'm glad I did spot that when I looked at the numbers myself. I don't know is the answer. It's part of the decision-making process of a big company that turns over $11 billion a year. Remember, you don't expect to make the money back in the first year.
No.
It's the divide by the X they judge. What is the rate of growth? I'm not interested terribly in making the money. It's the divide by the X over the next 5 years. And there's something you've got a massive return. So I don't think we're not going to make the money back in the first year. That's a pretty old-fashioned way of doing it. We have to stop. Last question.
The CEO also mentioned even if they are unsuccessful,
yeah.
because he's machinery, he clearly mentioned that in case if you have an idea, good idea, even only to invest in money.
Even if it fails, but how many times you let it fail? He's let it fail twice. So.
Yeah, and even just only the last one.
It's very good. I'll use it myself, Tim.
Yeah. When they mentioned this, the union, when they are going to mention, they let the price for $1,000 for the wholesale.
Yeah.
And they moved backward. They didn't know, they didn't justify because of what's going to cost us. Just they fixed the price, they agreed, like group people that were going to sell it for.
Yeah, but then the engineering team over in India are going to say, how the hell are we going to produce it for that price?
Exactly.
I've been in that position. Yeah, I was lucky not the engineer, my friend Fred. Okay, so we've done enough here. Did you enjoy that? So just remember the thing that's up there, because it is very simple. And as I was trying to say before something came up, you can either do it sequentially, or if you're using rapid prototyping and light stuff, you can actually come in here and say, well, let's do a bit of a business plan like, let's do some early prototypes, let's do half of them through partners, and let's do half of them retail, and see what happens. But still you're doing that. Okay. There's the case study notes. It's on the PDF, which is on the Bright Space, so you can have a look at it. So now we start the class. So, I'm going to get on. I think my voice is doing pretty well. Hands up who's seen the film, The Wolf of Wall Street. Oh my God, that's incredible. I'm really impressed. Okay, so, Tim, you saw Wolf of Wall Street. What happened at the end?
They get arrested.
Yeah, what happens after he gets arrested? It's about a guy who scams buyers in the stock market horrifically by lying and lying and lying. And at the end he gets caught, right? What's his fine?
I don't remember.
Anybody remember? $60 million. One of the biggest fines ever exacted on an individual. And how did he get that money back? Because he's still paying it back. Do you know what he did? He started a sales trading company. And he pretty much started a sales trading company the same time I did. And we had very different ethical values. And I still get his newsletter once a month. It still sucks. But there's one particular scene at the end of the film. So, Tim, sell me this. Listen.
Can you give me your number?
Yes, 613-797-4239.
Can you write it down, please?
No problem at all. Give me a pen. It's a bit, yeah, I think you're smart. Give me a number, say it again. Give me a number, go and say it to me. Yeah, no problem at all, I've just sent it to you from my LinkedIn file. I've done it, all right? So I don't use pens.
Well, that was in the 80s, they didn't have LinkedIn.
It doesn't matter, well, do you want to try and sell with this pen? I'm trying to make a point here. Sell with a pen.
So, what would you choose? Status or, normal life?
Status or normal life? I like this. Normal life, probably. Unless I made a lot of money with status.
Well, this pen then would not be for you because this is actually a pen which has a lot of status.
It does indeed.
So only the top, we've got only 5 of these, and only the top CEOs of the business.
Well, bye, nice to meet you. But no, listen, she's doing well. She started off with a question. Do you want to sell me this pen? Do you want to sell me this pen?
I'm going to continue with what she said.
No. We're in a different place. Come on, sell me the pen. But you did well, but then you failed. Give me the pen. Sell me the pen. No, there we go. Sell me the pen. Come on, sell me the pen. Listen, this is going to be good. Sell me the pen. Sorry? Come on, it's a class. I'm not assessing you, I just want you to try and sell me the pen. I do have a pen, yes, quite a few. I have a bag full of them. Good start, question. No, I've never seen that one before.
This pen, I don't know.
Now keep going because this is making a point really well. This pen is what? This pen has a unique design, yeah? Why do you think I would want to use it?
It has features like the pens, those.
How do you know that? You don't know anything about my pens.
Because I know that this pen is a limited edition.
Yeah, I have limited editions in my bag. Now stop. You're doing right. Big hand for her there because you've actually done the best. She's the first person who had a conversation. Really good. All right? There's a problem with this pen. It's got at least 6 different sets of tires-based takeaways. All right? So 6 different sorts of people might be interested in this pen. Yeah, and you collect antique pens, don't you? Say yes, Trevor. So this is an antique pen. You invest in silver, don't you? Yeah, this is a silver pen. You are a plumber, aren't you? And you have to write quotes whilst upside down. So you might find this pen interesting. You're a scuba diver, aren't you? So you might need to write underwater. So this pen is a pretty cool pen. It is made of silver, it is antique, blah, 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 and it does write underwater. But it's got 4, at least, different takeaways. 4 bind drivers. So, I forgot your name.
Jessica.
Jessica. I didn't know that, but how the hell am I supposed to read your name, Jessica, when it's behind there? So, Jessica, do you want to give it one more go? Yeah. Okay, send me the pen, Jessica.
Okay, so what do you do?
What do I do? I'm a prophet at the University of Ottawa.
You're a prophet at the University of Ottawa. Okay, so do you like, what features, like what kind of pens do you have?
No, too fast to a pen. Keep it more general. Can I start a conversation? Have a conversation with me.
Okay, you're a prophet at the University of Ottawa. How often do you use pens?
No, that's a bit, she's gone a bit pen fast, hasn't she? Why did you find out? So what do you do in your... What do? I spend about half of my time teaching, the other half of my time kayaking, and the rest of the time plumbing.
Do you write?
A little bit of help there. Do I write? Yeah, I've written 3 books.
Oh, so it means you use pens a lot?
No, I use the machine. But it's all right, there's nothing wrong with that. So she's gone down, this is what we're going to be talking about. So she's gone down a path towards a particular takeaway, which I don't need. All right? But
Okay, so with your books, like, do you launch, when you launch your books, do you sign autographs?
I do. I have big book launches, and you can't believe how sore my wrist gets. And the worst thing about my book launches, I don't just write Trevor, I write something different for every single person. And when you do that 300 times, you get a sore wrist. Sometimes I write upside down underwater. That's the hardest of all.
Okay, so
Very sharp, straight into the pen. Is there anything else you do? No, I don't collect silver, I don't collect antiques, no, I don't do any of those things. No, I just write on books upside down underwater.
you just write them on the level.
But that's great, you've got exactly the thing for me, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, let's a big hand there for Jessica. Okay, so here's the essentials from that little playing, and I let it run a lot longer than I normally do, because you guys and girls are smart. The whole point about when you're trying to get somebody to buy something, it's why my books are called Turning Selling into Buying, and this is the only class where all we do is we talk about selling and buying. I feel like buying this pen because I've had a conversation where she discovered that I do write books upside down underwater, it's a silly example, and I want to buy it. And that's what modern conversations are about. And Scott and I are going to show you one in a few minutes of how we have that conversation. So before we go across to Scott's great genius, could you have a look into the board? Because I used this slide to get agreement that we were going to have an engineering sales school. And next week we're formally announcing our certified sales engineer program. We've got a big event on Thursday. It's really cool. And this is the slide that I used to make people realise that sales and engineering are not that far apart. So come and tell me whether you agree. So first of all, here's the best engineering. So the best engineers go out and they talk to their customers, or they have advertising. What do they find out what people need? Do we all agree that's what every engineer has to do? You can't just make stuff up on its own. And you engage with a particular person, you find out whether they're trying to stop something happening, whether they want something to happen, are they interested in buying it. So you find out a bit more about the particular buyer, and you discover the finances. Is there any way that I can build this made out of titanium? I'm going to make it out of fiberglass. Do they want it quickly? Do they want it slowly? So all this stuff's what I think every engineer has to do who's trying to build a solution. And then you make a proposal. Hands up here who's ever done a proposal. Okay, so everybody, and sometimes, see, I could do that for you. Shall I deliver it for Thursday? I can do that for $600. That's a proposal, all right? So you make a proposal in a way that you could actually deliver it, and you get the decision. Say yes, Trevor.
Yes, Trevor.
I'll get started on it tomorrow, and I'll send you some pictures every day on Snapchat of how it's going. Is that cool?
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got a buying plan there. And then finally, we deliver it. Does everybody agree that's not a bad demonstration of what happens with engineering? Actually, it's exactly the same thing that happens in a lot of things. The key thing is what you've been discovering, and you can use it as managers and entrepreneurs, is how to analyse what people's buyers are, find out what they are in the same way Jessica just did, and listen to the answers. So what do the best salespeople do? Well, surprise, surprise, the same thing. They engage, they discover, they propose, they get a decision, and they deliver a solution. So actually the sequence of the tools between really good engineering, where you're making stuff that solves a problem, and good sales is very similar. And it needs the same expertise, which is questioning and listening. So really, what I want to talk about today is this process here inside the orange circle, okay? So somebody tell me, what's the purpose of a sales call? Who am I? Team 3, I've done nothing with you guys. What is the purpose of a sales call? Change it. To increase sales. That's a very chunked up answer. Could you chunk down a little bit from that? In what way specifically could we increase our sales by having a sales call? No, that's sideways. That doesn't answer my question. In what way does having a sales call increase our sales?
By using customers.
You're staying on the same level. Give me spot. What's the purpose? Look at the question. What is the purpose of a sales call? You're going on a sales call tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
To engage
To engage lists. Leads. Okay, also that's actually very operational. So every sales call, its purpose is to have a good chat about their situation, not about their products, not about their solutions. Find out what their situation is, if they've got some problems, and whether you can help, and most important of all, if they can afford it. Does anybody disagree with that as a definition of a sales call? Sales call, when you go and physically say, hello, Attila, my name's Trevor Wilkins, thank you for calling me here. An opportunity for a good chat, an effective chat about their job situation to see if you can help and if they can afford it. This guy, Willie Ross, he was my boss in 2 companies. He sacked me from the first one, but he employed me again later on. And I then took that and I said, okay, we can have effective chats, but we've got to use conscious skills. We've got to use chunking, we've got to do challenging, we've got to understand about tasks. And I sat down and I actually analysed 30 of the very best salespeople I knew. People who worked for me, sales managers I knew, and heads of sales in some partnerships. I interviewed them. And I went and sat down with them with a script, and I found out what the pattern was of their sales calls. And I'd go to some people and I'd say, so Teshpal, tell me about your sales call. I don't know, it just kind of goes, and we seem to get on, and I come away with a contract. Hate the guy. I hate these people, just such brilliant salespeople. So I actually pushed very hard. There's one German lady. She was really hard to crack, but eventually she suddenly realised that she had this great structure. And she was one of the, I don't know, 6 or 8 of them that really gave me the whole thing. So I actually have built everything I'm going to teach you today based a little bit on my own experience, but definitely on that of the best, all right? That's kind of where they come from. So what will they take away from buying what you engineer? Anybody remember? Are they going to take away the engineering stuff? No, they're going to take away the takeaways. So the desired effect. We've done this one. Have we done this slide? Yeah, I thought we had. So let's quickly go from that. So, what's the ultimate motivator that people have when they buy stuff? Tell me, ultimate motivator. What motivates you to do anything? Preferably close your laptop.
Maybe if something interesting, other thing is going on, I'll be motivated to...
Yeah. Tires. The ultimate motivator is tires, all right? And so what's in it for you? Why would you be interested in closing your laptop now? Because you know that I wouldn't be pissed off and reduce your class contribution score, all right? So, and if you don't get a high class contribution score, then you'll get a lower mark, which will reduce your ability to get a great job and reduce the ability to make money. So what's in it for you is to close your laptop so that you get a better job quicker and more easily. Make sense? No, I'm just using an example. But everybody's motivated by tires. Now the problem with tires is that being happier, because he'll be happier when he knows and learn more, and you've got more time, ultimately it's all going to be turned into money. So there is 90% of stuff, probably 99%, is the fact the ultimate motivator is money. And that when Jessica was asking me about my use of a pen, she's got to make that conversation come around to not just finding out about my situation if she can help, but can actually afford to buy this pen. And I mustn't lose it because it's worth a hell of a lot of money and it belongs to my wife. Seriously. So if you're trying to sell me a $600 pen, yes it is, then you've kind of got to get to the point at which I am prepared to pay $600 for a pen. So, I'm going to do this quickly because we're running out of time. So, before we start, I'd like to, anybody here whose name is Scott, to volunteer to do a sketch. Do 4 sketches. Each one of these sketches is based around retail sales. Now I know this is a bit odd, but we're going to get stuff that's completely relevant to Jan Thias, it's completely relevant to Shopify, it's completely relevant to you as project managers, product managers, whatever you do. Okay? Now each of those 4 sketches, there's going to be some buying, some selling, there's going to be some questions, some answering, and there's going to be some talking and some listening. I'm very happy, even if you've got your laptops and your phones closed, you can write some notes down. I want you to think about what happens in each of the sketches. Now we're going to do them back to back, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go back to the sketches and we'll work out what happened. Everybody happy? All right, I'm going to put my props on. Okay, big hand for Scott. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're in Home Depot. Is it the same?
Am I supposed to start with this or do you start with this?
Put that there. I stopped everything. Please put it there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I am a regular customer. I'm walking the shop, and he's just going to follow the sketch. All right. Hi there. Is this the best half-inch drill that you have in the shop, please?
Well, actually, you're holding one of the more expensive drills in the shop.
Really? How much is it?
$18.50.
Really?
Yeah, this pack over here represents very good value. 8 top quality hardened steel drill bits in different sizes in a bubble pack, and they only cost $12.99.
Is there anything special about them?
No, not really. I just always use Home Depot drill bits, and I've never had a problem with them going blunt.
Interesting.
I do a lot of woodworking, and these suit me just fine. They last so long and cost so little.
Well, they seem to be a good price. Thank you very much. Give him a hand. Okay, he's going to get his second prop. All right. Okay. Think about the macro, what's really happening here. Hi there, is this the best half-inch drill bit you have in the shop, please?
Well, actually, we have something much better over here.
Really? What is it? Tell me about it.
Well, it's our latest promotion. It's digitally controlled aperture apparatus with a laser depth enumerator.
Wow.
Not only does it run off 110 volts AC, but it contains the very latest nickel vanadium power pack, which can be charged to nearly 16 gigawatts and will hold that charge for over a month. Cool, eh?
I'm very impressed. Anything else?
For drilling in wood, which I expect you want to do, it has a unique torque vector integrator which ensures that the cellular lattice of both hardwood.
You have done this, haven't you? Good boy. How much is it?
Well, with our new leasing plan, it's only $38 a month. Here's the brochure.
Which you don't do right. Excellent. Let's have the brochure, yeah? All right. Give me the brochure. Oh, that's an awful lot of detail you've given me. I'm a bit overwhelmed. I really need to think about it. In fact, do you know, I think I'm going to go back home to my partner, who's a bit more of an expert on this, and thank you very much. Give him a hand. You didn't sell me anything. Okay, sketch 3. Does anybody know Lee Valley? Hands up if you've been to Lee Valley. Okay, how would you describe Lee Valley, Sarah?
High quality.
High quality? I've never heard it called that. What sort of people go to high quality Lee Valley?
My mother.
Your mother? Oh, I can't say it rude, can I? Is she a geeky sort of woodworking person?
A little bit.
Yeah, she's a geeky person. Lee Valley is the geeky woodworking and machining type people, all right? And he's wearing a Lee Valley hat, which I stole from my wife. Hi there. Is this the best half-inch drill bit you have in the shop, please?
Well, do you mind if I first ask what do you want to do? What do you want to do with it? What sort of wood are you drilling? Does the hole need to be countersunk? Is the wood heavily knotted? Does the opening need to be parallel-sided?
Well, it's half-inch, inch and a half Canadian maple, actually.
Is it a plank or a block of solid wood? Is it sawn or milled?
Well, it's a solid plank, actually, and pretty old.
A tough piece of wood. Will you be drilling through the grain or at an angle? That makes a difference to what type of cutting edge you should be using and how long the drill bit will last with frequent use.
Well, it'll be straight down into it.
With the drill press or by hand?
No, just with a hand drill.
And will you be wanting a lot of use from the drill bit?
No, I'm just going to drill this one single hole.
Okay, then I suggest this excellent hand-sharpened Japanese drill. It's $38.50. Okay, then I suggest this excellent hand-sharpened Japanese drill. It's $38.50, but really excellent quality, and perfect for drilling accurate holes through really hard wood, time and time again.
Well, it's a bit of a steep price, but you are the experts here at Lee Valley. I guess I'd better buy it. Thank you very much. Give him a hand. Okay, full sketch. We're now in Rona. Unfortunately, somebody stole my Rona hat. So, my God, you've got a big head, Scott. You notice I get the tough lines here. Hi there, is this the best half-inch drill bit you have in the shop, please?
What do you want to do with the drill, precisely?
No, lots of emphasis, all right? Well, I want to drill a hole through a floorboard.
So you're looking to buy a hole, really, right?
Yes, I suppose I am, actually. I hadn't thought of that before.
And what exactly will you get from creating this hole?
Well, it's actually to push a computer cable through.
All right. And what else will you need to drill a hole for?
No idea. In fact, I seldom do work on the house. I hate that sort of thing.
Okay, so what do you want to get out of this project?
Well, it's actually a network cable into my bedroom on my wife's side of the bed.
And what does that do for you?
Well, in fact, it saves my wife having to get out of bed ridiculously early every morning.
How so?
Well, she's a senior executive, and she really has to clear her work emails before she goes to work each morning. Presently, she has to get up to do it, which we both hate, but our internet connection's in the games room, where she has to plug her government laptop in.
Ah, so you're actually buying the drill to connect your wife to the internet, then?
Yes, I guess I am, actually.
So, besides you two, who else in your family would benefit from your wife connecting to the internet?
She like it. She's spotting all the emphasised words. Yeah, the kids, I guess, as she switches their TV off when she gets up. And I guess maybe Grandpa, as she always gives him a hard time for wandering around without his slippers first thing in the morning.
So all you want is to allow your wife's laptop to connect to the internet from bed? Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so. And, you know, if you can do that more easily than drilling holes and dragging bloody cables through, that would be really excellent.
Well, that's just great, because we've got the product that does exactly what you want. It's specifically made to connect any computer completely reliably to the internet from anywhere. And what's more, it's written up by the Consumer Report,
which you happen to have in the back pocket.
It's the best value available for the job.
And it's bilingual and triangular.
And it's supported by a 24-hour telephone hotline when you install it for 6 months afterwards. What would that be worth to you?
That's a very important question. Try it again.
What would that be worth to you?
Well, a good few $100, I should think.
Well, it's only $85 and does everything we want.
Great. What is it? Where do I buy it?
It's halfway down aisle 34 in the display on the left. Here, let me take that.
Great, many thanks. By the way, what are we actually looking for?
It's called a wireless router startup.
So nice. This is the strap line.
Well, yes, it's a wireless router startup.
Really? Thank you for being so helpful. Extending, where did you learn such amazing customer service?
Oh, well, I was trained by Trevor Wilkins.
Okay, can you bring your hats out over here, please, Scott? Thank you very much. Okay, so good laugh, but there's a lot of stuff going on there. Let's see what we can find. There's a chap called Ted Levitt. He was a marketing professor at Harvard Business School. He died, gosh, I've been teaching this for a long time. The year I started to teach this, he just died. So he died a few years ago. He had this idea that people don't buy a half-inch drill, they actually buy a half-inch hole. And I kind of took it way out there with my chunking and all that sort of stuff, and created what we do now. So what happened in the first sketch? This sketch here with the funny hat. What do you think happened?
It was very precise and to the point, and not many questions asked, but he didn't advertise the product too much to the customer. But it was like attention, it grabbing as well at the same
How many questions did he ask me?
2, 3.
No, he didn't ask me any questions at all.
He did explain a scenario where he had used the product himself, and he gave you.
So since you've got such strong feelings on this, who was he selling to?
He was selling to you.
No, he wasn't. What was he saying? Well, nobody said. What values was he selling to? Mine or his?
His own.
He was selling to himself. And it doesn't matter whether it's a $5 drill a bit, or whether it's a $5 million piece of software or services. There's a tremendous feeling of selling to yourself. People cannot put themselves on the other side of the table. His words were, is there anything special about them? He said, no, I've never had a problem with going blunt. I do a lot of woodworking, these suit me just fine. They last so long and they cost so little. He had no idea whether I did a hell of a lot of woodwork, therefore I needed them to last a long time. And I don't know whether you realised, did you see my acting in the first act? I was acting as a millionaire. Could you see I was a millionaire? Did it not show? Damn. Well, so the point was, I'm not interested in saving money. All right? He didn't elicit anything. He didn't ask me any questions at all. All right? And when I asked, how much is it? He said 1850. And I looked fairly neutral. And he didn't ask whether or not that was a lot or... He asked nothing. So he didn't get any sort of a connection with me. Have a look at the board. He didn't try and understand me. And he made assumptions. And what are assumptions the mother of?
That you want to save the money.
Assumptions are the mother of all screw-ups. All right, there's a section in my book 3 called Assumption is the Mother of asterisk, 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 ups. And he made an assumption, and he sold me the wrong thing, because I don't want these things. But the main thing was he sold himself. Did anybody see anything else in Act 1? Wasn't very much else going on. Okay, what happened in Act 2? That was, what was that, Lee Valley?
Yeah.
Sorry, there was the other one. Oops. This one here. Yeah, so what happened? What do you think happened?
Spray and pray.
You've just read it off the board, didn't you? Yes, maybe. Very good, but quick. So explain to us what spray and pray is.
Basically, he's just shooting in the dark, shooting out the features.
Yeah, no, but can you explain why you use the expression spray and pray?
Because they're not, their approach isn't focused, it's just kind of...
No, that doesn't explain what spray and pray means. What's the derivation of spray and pray? Do you know, Tim?
Like it's just spraying all the features out and hope that something sticks.
Yeah, that's what it's about. He sprays all the features and functions. A laser depth enumerator with a torque vector integrator. It touches real stuff, all the stuff in there. But it was absolutely full of features and functions. And what do we say to features and functions? So what? And he hadn't done any so what. But he was so full of them. Now, why did he do that? Well, I know it was in the script. But why do people spray and pray?
He had thought that one might click.
To make a sale?
Well, yes, and it works. It makes a sale, but you get no connection with the person. And sometimes, if you're lucky, I've probably sprayed and prayed for the first 3 years of my 30 years of sales. Because I just went there and pitched. We all just tell people about stuff, and randomly, you will get a sale. So it does kind of work, but it's pretty inefficient. And you have to do an awful lot of sales calls. So spraying and praying, most people do it. Most engineers do it for what reason? Yes, I've hardly spoken to Team 5. You don't exist, do you? You still, got the warmth of your presentation. So, why do engineers tend to spray and pray?
They're largely into the technical details.
They like the technical details. Why do they like the technical details?
They're hardwired that way.
They're hardwired that way. I like that. Unless they're a software engineer, in which case they're software. But no, we tend to think about features and functions. It's our comfort zone. Are we? And most engineers haven't done my EMP class. They haven't done the BCI class. They haven't been to sales camp. So they don't understand so what. So what is the complete opposite. All right? But it's much nicer to sit there and talk about the torque vector integrator with a laser depth enumerator, because we're showing off. It sounds good if you say all this stuff. So you need self-confidence to not do that. What else happened in Act 2? What did he sell me? Nothing. So despite the fact you're saying it's to make a sale, now he probably could have sold me something, because I quite like the laser depth enumerator thing. So it was a classic spray and pray. And what happened was, he didn't elicit. I think you will understand the word elicit. There's a technical word where you have a conversation to draw something out. And we'll learn a little bit after the break how you manage a conversation. So I want to go and visit all of the potential takeaways. That requires some linguistic skill. I'm going to give some really nice ways of doing that. But he didn't elicit anything. He was in his comfort zone. I had to do the work. And this is the thing about spraying and praying. I told you about, when we did, so what did I tell you about that software where we had to, where it was 3,000 features and functions, and they used to give a presentation of all these features and functions, and the potential buyer would sit in front of this presentation and think, do I want that? Do I want that? Could I afford that? Will that be for this year or next year? They had to do all the work. I think it's really, really rude. And they didn't get it. What happened in Act 3? Lots of questions in Act 3, weren't there?
Too much of chunking.
Chunking down.
Sorry?
Chunking happening, too much.
Too much chunking.
He was asking questions again and again and again. And
But
again.
was he chunking?
He was connecting.
So what's the key thing about chunking? You've got to listen before you chunk. You've got to ask the question, and then if the information that comes back is too high, you what? You chunk down. The information that comes back too low, you chunk up. Did he listen to my answers? No. He was terrible. Scott, you were really bad, man. So what was he doing? He asked lots of questions. What was the problem with his questions? Let's go over, no, these guys, Harshita's done lots of cool stuff. So you guys, tell me. What?
It had just chunking questions, but it didn't have tabs in it, and then a lot of details.
No, they're missing something really fundamental. What about his questions? Quite technical, but...
He wasn't listening and he wasn't able to connect to it.
You're right, he wasn't listening, but before that, how many questions did he ask me at a time? Between 3 and 4, every time. So what do you do if I ask you 3 questions? Which questions do you answer?
Last question.
The last one? You're the first one? You're the easiest one? You're the one that you think you know the answer to because you want to please me? If you ask multiple questions, you're not going to get a sensible back. So I really ask you, if you ask 2 questions, it's got to be consciously so you know you're giving them a closed answer. That's a very odd thing to do. Most people ask a question and then you do what he didn't do, you listen. So for what purpose precisely do you want to buy a half-inch drill? Well, it's to drill a hole in the floor of my bedroom. Is that enough detail? No. What will you get from having a hole in the bottom of your bedroom? I stick a cable through. Aha! He wants you for a cable. I think I might go in the direction of wireless routers. And it's a silly sketch, but you see the point. And in this particular case, he just asked lots and lots of questions, but they were in groups. And the other reason I asked about Sarah's mum is that he made an assumed need, which was I knew what I was talking about. He kept talking about half-inch maple and hand-cut Japanese drills. I do hope we haven't lost that drill because it did cost me a lot of money. I think I left it in the office, didn't I? But the whole point is the questions had a basic assumption that I knew I was talking about. The same applies to you as engineers. When you go and you talk to somebody as engineers, and we're bloody good at what we do, the people on the other side of the desk may not be as good, well, almost certainly aren't as good as us. So don't make assumptions, otherwise they will try and please you. Because I certainly did. He didn't listen, and the problem was I would go back home and I'd say to my partner, there is absolutely no way I'm going back there. He just talked at me. So, what do we think about the 4th one? Perfect! Was it perfect? So what was the structure of these guys over here? Team 6. You're not actually Team 6, are you? No, you are. You are actually Team 6. So what was the structure? What happened?
Not just the chunking, it was...
He did chunk. Beautifully.
Yeah, it was based on what he said.
Yeah.
And in his statement, it had the components of what he was telling.
But that was a long way down the line. What did he do before he had the components of what he was selling? What's the very first question he asked? What are you looking for? So he asked me an open question. We'll have a little bit later on after the break. We'll look at standard opening questions. What are you doing here? Why did you call me in? How's business? What's the problem with your production line that caused you to bring us here? Still a very open question. He had an open question. I gave him some information. He chunked around it. What else did he do? Did he chunk sideways?
Yes. Yeah.
What was his classic chunking sideways question?
Anything else?
Besides you, who else would benefit? All right, that's a classic one that you have to ask. Yeah.
Like when I try to apply that example to the workplace, sometimes it's like, for example, your boss comes to you asking for something, and then you start asking those questions. You might feel like you're being nosy.
Okay, so now we discussed. So how do you deal with not being nosy? You use softness, and you say, that's interesting. I'm not quite sure I understand what you're saying. Could you give me an example of how you want me to do that? That sounds much better than give me an example of how you want that done. So you've got to be intelligent and genuinely want to know. Your boss will not get back at you if you give it that softness. If you say it'll reduce your time and increase your expense, that ain't gonna. You've got to be quite subtle about these things. And if the boss really only wants you to do it and doesn't want you to chunk them, try once, maybe twice, then shut them up. All right? Because sometimes people don't like it. So it was pretty good. He engaged with me. He got a full elicitation. Good rapport. I liked him. I thought he was a cool guy. He said, how are you? Do you mind if I ask you some questions? He had pre-prepared questions ready. He got the route buying drivers. He did, so besides you, who else? So he went sideways. He discovered the value. What words did he use to discover the value? If you could do that, how much would that be worth to you? Really simple. But you can use that in a $5 million deal. When I did my biggest deal ever, I remember being in a committee of bankers about the same number as this. I said, how much would you be prepared to pay for this? Because you told me this could save you $600 million. How much would you be prepared to pay me for that? And one of the guys, they went, bloody salesman. And one of the guys said, oh, I'd probably about $10 million. And they ended up paying me $8 million. So he was pretty close to it. And I'm really glad I asked the question. I was feeling quite raw. I did a lot of state management for that one.
What if they say a number that's much lower than the price?
Well,
what if they say $8 million and it actually you want to charge them $15 million?
So I do know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you why. What would you do?
What I do?
If somebody,
I don't know.
So, come on.
I mean,
you've done full sketches.
Would you honestly say to them, like, this is what it costs? I don't know.
So I would say, who else has got, we're going to stop in a minute, I just want, so I've asked how much would you be prepared for it, and he said $150 million, $150,000. Okay, what would I say? Anybody got an idea?
If you pay a little bit more.
No, that's what you do in a bazaar when you're haggling. It's a question. Where did you get that figure from? Can you give me the background to that figure? So presumably that figure's come from somewhere because you're a senior banker. You're a terrible person. You're a haggler. Now listen, there's nothing wrong. You're obviously a very good salesperson and very determined, and you've got great rapport. The difference between the structure and your enthusiasm is two things. One is your productivity. If you have my structure plus your enthusiasm, and there are other people in the room who are like you, all right, then you'll be more productive. But you have a manager. In most cases, you'll have a sales manager or a boss of the company you're starting. And it's much more predictable if you have a process where you say, oh my God, we're going to close this deal next week. And I say to you, what are their tyres? What's the value to them? What's their decision-making process? And you say to me, I've got no idea, but he's got such lovely eyes. You know? Now, I can't put the fact that the guy's got lovely eyes on my sales forecast. Do you see the difference? So I know there are some people here who say, yeah, I'm pretty good at sales. I'm trying to move the people who are pretty good at sales to being brilliant at them. But much more importantly, I'm trying to get the people who wouldn't say, I cannot do sales. And I could probably list the people who would say that. I want to give you something that gives you a start. So that's kind of where we are there. So these are mistakes. Assumptions, never assume and guess anything. We agree that. Don't sell to yourself. Don't spray and pray from your comfort zone. If you ask a question, always listen. Don't just listen and then move on to the next question you want to ask. The next question should be relevant. Create a willing buyer. But you don't worry about that. We'll worry about that later on. There's lots of nice videos. There's a video of what Scott and I have just done at these two places, Ted Levitt 4 and Ted Levitt 4V. The 4V is very good if you want to train your partners or your staff. It has a complete talk over with me explaining what's going on like I've just done in the class. So we're going to have a break now. There's a handout which will be on your desk. There's the sketches. Right, so we're going to worry about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a break, and then we're going to come back, we're going to watch a video, and when we watch the video, I want you as teams to work out what the structure is. So you've had a little bit of a view of it, and I want you to come back to me and we're going to work out what the structure is. Everybody back here for 9 o'clock, we'll be just about to get everything before 10. Okay? Everybody happy? Go. Okay. What we should be doing at this point is watching a film, lovely film, it's got me in it, and it's a sales call. And it's an engineering sales call. And we sit, we watch it quietly, and I'm going to give you the script, or at least Sam was going to give you the script, and then we work out what's happening. But we haven't got time to work that all out from scratch. So I'm going to do it the traditional way. We're going to kind of teach you the structure of a sales call, and then we'll finish with the video, all right? Now, the video, normally, I show it to you with the script and a blank, and you have to write the techniques that are being used. I'm going to give you the answer straight away because you're smart, all right? But I'm going to make you work a bit hard first. So, I want to work out the structure of a sales call. Let's say you've been invited in by somebody you've done business with before, but you don't really know why. They've said, "See, come and see me. I think we can do business together." So what's the first thing you would expect to do? You're planning it. You're on the LRT on your way in from where you live. You think, or maybe even better, 2 or 3 days before you're planning it with your team who are going to go with you. What's the first thing you're going to do? Walk through the door. What's the first thing? First phase of the sales call?
Face to face.
Yeah. Before that. Do you walk through the door and say, "Tell me about your business"? Really? Really? You're a tough guy. How much business do you get? What's the first thing you do? "Hey, say, nice to meet you. What am I doing? What am I doing?" Greeting. What's the purpose of a greeting? And what word do we use for connection? It was up on the screen just now. Yeah. All right, so how do we get rapport with people? How do we get rapport with people before we even see them? We've done rapport, haven't we? Yeah. How do we get rapport before we see them?
Do some research about them, ask questions about them from.
No, before we met them. How would you make sure that when you walk through a door, how could you make them want to meet you?
You had talked about the 3 p.m. email.
Yeah, the 3 p.m. email. So what's the 3 p.m. email?
So you plan the agenda.
Yeah.
What are you going to discuss with
Yeah.
the client?
So say it to me now. Read me out the email. I did it about 6 times. Say, "Hi there, Trevor."
Yeah, hi there, Trevor. I'm looking forward to the meeting that we're going to have tomorrow. And to be precise, these are the list of things that I would like to discuss with you.
Let's
tomorrow.
keep it informal. I'm going to cover 3 things.
Yeah, I'm going to cover 3 things.
Don't say, to be precise, here's the agenda.
Yes.
All right, so it's not a formal email. I'm pretty certain we'll only need to look at 3 things.
Yeah.
A, B, and C.
Yeah, and is there anything else that you would like to address or discuss tomorrow? Just let me know if I'm missing something.
One thing you've missed. It's really good, so well done, really good. One thing you missed. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to cover A, B, and C. Time. Should only take about half an hour of your valuable time. Actually, that's it. Half an hour of your time. All right? So, the agenda, you want to add anything? No? Okay. So that's one way. The other way is marketing. You walk through the door, they know you're from Google. Everybody loves Google. You're from Shopify? Cool, come and talk to me. All right? So some people have very positive marketing. So, the rapport can start before you get there. But here's the key thing. We know the handshakes and the body language. What's the purpose of rapport? It's not because I put it down as the first thing, yeah.
To make them comfortable,
For what purpose do you want to make them comfortable?
to get to know about their needs and everything.
How will that help you to get to know about their needs and everything?
They will be comfortable in answering your questions.
Yeah, they'll be comfortable. The key thing is you are getting permission to ask nosy questions. I think you talked about being nosy. We are nosy for them. We're going to do a better job for them by being nosy. But they have to actually quite like us professionally, personally, commercially, to open up to us. That's why I have rapport 1, 2 and 3, all right? But particularly rapport 1 and 2. They say, okay, and they trust you. So there is a very good reason for starting with rapport. You cannot sometimes do it. People will get you through the door, they say, come on, sit down, let's get on with the meeting. All right, well, see how we go. We've got a way of doing that, we'll touch that later on. Okay, so we have this thing called beckon. Beckon is the 6-letter acronym for a sales call. Remember I told you I modelled those people? This works, folks, and it works for an engineering needs school. We'll talk about that at the end. So you begin by building rapport for precision questioning. Nosy questioning, as Attila would call it. All right? Everybody happy with that? We'll talk about that a little bit more. What do you think the E stands for? What do you think, Darshan?
Explain.
Explain. How can you explain? You don't know anything about their situation. How can you explain it?
Give them some information, so give them elicit something.
You're dying to sell, aren't you? And then my book is called Turning Selling into Buying. The first thing you do is find out what they need. What's the purpose of a sales call? Anybody remember? It was up there about half an hour ago. The purpose of sales calls is have a good chat with them, and what? Find out how you can help, and if they can afford it. So we're having a good chat, we've built rapport, and we're going to elicit, so we're going to have a chat with them and find out about how they use pens, what's wrong with their business. Explore means go sideways, and extend means chunking up and down. All right, so have a conversation, and we'll see it in the video. All right, we'll see in the video lots of chunking up and down. Everybody happy? So don't immediately start pitching. There will be a point at which you can pitch. But if you pitch, you're going to be like a sketch number 3, where you just went blah, 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 and you went straight over my head. All right? The key thing is, I'm not interested in whether they want a half-inch drill. I want to know what the takeaway is. What was my takeaway in the sketch? Sorry? What was my takeaway, Scott? In sketch 4?
Drilling the hole, which got you.
Drill the hole, which got me.
Which
What was my
got you
takeaway?
internet access, which got you.
God, bloody hell, come on.
Your wife.
I want to spend more time in bed with my wife. Nothing wrong with that. All right, and which one of the ties is that?
Yes.
Yes, very good. And why does she want to spend more time in bed with me? Because then she gets a T and an I because she's a director. She needs time to go and go, thank you. All right. But you see my point. The point about that sketch is he elicited a lot more than the fact I wanted half-inch drill. So I know what Darshana will do. If I go to her and I say, is this the best half-inch drill you've got in the shop? She'll say, how many do you want? Now you'll sell me some drills, which is cool, but you might have missed the opportunity to sell me a wireless thing. Okay? What do you think about C? What do you think C could be?
Confirming back from them.
Sorry?
Just confirming from them, like confirm and check or...
Confirm?
Yeah, confirm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Right, and why would we want to confirm?
So that what...
If your mother gives you a shopping list, you just say, yes, Mum, I'll go.
No, like we confirm...
You confirm it?
Yeah. Whether
All right?
we heard correct or not.
And whose words do you use, Whose words do you use when you confirm back? Why would you use their words? Not just because I say so.
Because we make sure that we have listened to them.
And why is that a good thing?
They would feel good.
It increases rapport. It's extraordinary. They've done a lot of tests on this. If you say back the same word, you know I do it with you all the time. Have you noticed? I do it with you all the time. I just did it with you. I listen to the words you use. I plug them back into my challenge. The degree of rapport and connection you get is astounding in comparison to not listening and vaguely saying something the same. It's one of the best ways of extending and building rapport is to confirm back what they said in their own words. And after you confirm back, you want A, you want B, you want C, what do you then do? Is there anything else? He said it twice in the sketch. All right, so let me get this right. We just spent 10, 15 minutes talking around the problems with your production lines and the new equipment and blah, blah, blah. I haven't sold you anything yet. Darshana's desperate to sell me something, but I'm confirming what he said. You want A and B and C with your production line. He said, anything else? Shut up. Really important, shut up, because at that point I can roll my head back and think, A, B and C, yeah, got that. Actually, no, there is something else. And you will get what we call a gem. And a gem is I'm sitting here competing with Scott. Scott is a competitor for her business. All right? But when Scott came, he said, you want A and B and C? Yeah, that'll cost you $150,000. And I've said to her, you want A, B and C? Is there anything else? She said, actually, we're opening an office in Germany. Could you do the same thing there? Yeah, what's the platform in Germany? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. Are there any other offices? Yeah, actually there's 6 other offices got the same problem I have. So he is only bidding for one version of whatever it is that we're competing for. I've got 6 opportunities, so you're going to get it cheaper. And that's a genuine situation that I've come across, I've seen people do. Gems are so important, and they only come by confirming back, shut up, and listen for them. Everybody happy? We'll just do a demo in a minute. At that point, you've talked to them, you've found out what their problems are, you're desperate to give them a pitch and tell them how much you can make them happy. So you get this feeling inside you, think, ka-ching, this is it, I can do this. Not just because Trevor's taught me, but I've had a good conversation, I understand what's going on. And you know you can do it, and you say, well, that's just great, because that's exactly what we do. All right? That's just great, because that's exactly what we do. It's what Scott said. And when everybody said, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and when everybody said, well, that's just great, because it's exactly what we do. 1, 2, 3, well, that's just great, because it's exactly what we do. Does that feel good? You can't say that unless it's true. 1, 2, 3, well, that's just great. Come on. I'm going to go on until we've got everybody saying 1, 2, 3, well, that's just great, because it's exactly what we do. That's better. Isn't that a cool thing to say? All right? It's a tremendous... And then after that you say, now let me show you how we do it. Let me show you how we can build that. Let me show you how we can deliver what you want. So that's great, that's exactly what we do, and now let me show you. And what you then do? The little pitch. And you're desperate to tell me about your stuff. Now, she wanted to tell me about her pen being made of silver, being handmade, being able to work upside down, and blah, blah, blah. Now you know I'm a silver collector. Well, I just thought you ought to know it's a 24-carat pen. This is exactly what you're looking for. Do you see the difference? And I know I use all these silly examples, but the same is true. It doesn't matter what you're doing. And as an engineer, and not as a salesperson, you want to do the same thing. Find out what they want, find out how you can help, all right? So when you get to K, what do you think O is? You make the offer. You offer them a solution to their problem. We haven't got time now, but there are 2 sorts of narrative. There's a thing called a value narrative. If you go look in the book, there's some cool examples of value narratives. Value narratives say, if you invest $15 in this hat, then if you wear it every single day for the rest of the summer, that'll save you at least $60 in ointment for your head, and maybe $150 so you don't have to go to the doctor for heat stroke treatment. All right, so I've given you a little story of how the purchase, I know it's a silly one, I make them up, but you can buy something and you tell the story, it does this, which means this, which means this, which means you save time, which would save you this much money, or you value time in this way. So a value narrative explains, and that's a really good way of doing a pitch, what it is that they're going to get from making this purchase. And a delivery narrative says, we'll send somebody around to your house with a tape measure, they'll measure how thick your skin is, they'll measure the diameter of your head, they'll enter that into a computer, the dimensions will be sent to India, where our hat making team will make the team within 6 hours, the hat within 6 hours, and it'll send you by Amazon the next day. So that's what literally a delivery narrative. So one of them's to do with money, and the other one's to do with project management. And they're to do with storytelling. If you tell people stories, they love it, they believe it, assuming it's right. There's a whole section in book 2 on storytelling. And value narratives and delivery narratives are very important. Return on investment, pretty obvious. You're going to save money in this particular way. And convincers. Anybody know what convincers are? You've made a lot of statements, haven't you? All right, you've asked questions, that's no problem. So that's great, that's exactly what we do. Now let me tell you how we do it. You're going to make some statements, aren't you, about ROI and delivery. You would say that, you're just a bloody salesperson. All right? So convincers are proof that what you say is true. You are making bold statements, all right, about delivery times, about ROI, about the strength of something, the frequency within which things will happen. So convincers, what sort of things could you use as convincers? Team 6, all right, you're making bold statements about your offering. How could you prove to me? Yeah.
An example of something.
So
someone else has sold the item.
So how would you give me that example? Would you take me there?
No, maybe a video or something.
Sorry, what?
A video on my...
So video, really good. Videos are very good. A visit Nothing wrong with the visit, you could take you there. How else? Yeah, but I could make up a story. So stories don't prove anything. Now let him finish. Come on. He's telling me lots of stories about his offering. How's he going to prove it to me? I'm a cynical old buyer. I don't like videos. I haven't got time to visit. What else?
Sometimes. Even like a previous buyer's experience that what he achieved by using that product.
I don't understand. Explain what to me. So I'm sitting here. I need to be convinced what he said is true. What are you going to do for me?
Give him an example of another person that became successful using.
Okay, like a case study. Is that the word you're looking for? So what's the difference between a use case and a case study? Do you remember? There's a use case and a case study. They're the same but different. Do you remember that? Do you remember use case and case studies? Do you remember? Remember? Anybody remember use cases and case studies? A case study is where you take a situation that's for real. He's got this problem. I came to him, I discovered his problem. I said to him, that's great, that's exactly what we do. Let me tell you, I delivered it, I fixed his problem, he saved money, he saved time, whatever it was he was going to do, and I can tell a story, and it's got his name on it. That's a case study. All right, that's believable, and you can phone him up, or you can send him an email, depending on what your dream is. So case studies, I think, in a rather unfair way, is what I'm trying to get you to say. Now, he hasn't made it up. It's really his case study. Anybody think what a use case is?
Just potential way to use it.
Yeah, but it's not for real. A use case is a made-up case study. So, Abhinav might be Fifth Commercial Bank, right? Real company, all right? His bank has bought my services and they've saved money, all right? I might do a use case which is for a medium-sized European bank with the same problem, all right? And who typically would use use cases rather than case studies? Please help me, I know it's late, but who would tend to use cases, made up figures, and who would use case studies rather than using case studies?
Big company.
Business to stockholder or something.
No.
Big company use user cases, and small company who needs to be.
Yeah, pretty much. A startup hasn't got any bloody customers. So use cases are really good. They're not just used as proof, but they're a really good way of building. I think Oleg talked about use cases. Yeah, Oleg definitely talked about use cases, but you probably went to sleep in that point. A use case is where you say, we're going to build this product, we're going to sell it to a medium-sized bank who's at this particular growth rate using this particular currency. Okay? And that is a use case. Then, when I find a bank that's like that, and I sell it to him, then that's a case study. So you'll generally find that small and start-up companies use use cases which turn into case studies. Big companies have lots and lots of customers that use case studies. So if you want to prove what he's saying is correct, you give me a case study. You give me a use case, you say, look, we haven't done anything in your area, but this is typically what you could expect, and we work figures through. So, that's convinced us. You want to get on with the detail now? Where's the digger? I always lose it. Thank you. So what do we think N is? We've got a good connection, we've had a good chat with them, found out their problem, we've discovered how we can help them and what it will be worth to them, we've offered them a solution. What do we do next? It's not N for negotiate. Not the way you think. What would you negotiate?
Price.
The price? You don't start off by negotiating price. What do? So I've just explained to you the solution, the narrative, explained to you how it would get delivered to you, how would you get the financial benefits. I'd say to you, so are you interested? Say yes, Trevor. So what would it take to get from your being interested to getting an order? Yeah, we need some details. We need what we call a buying plan. All right, a buying plan is really unique. It's not a sales plan. A sales plan where it's like, going to sell this stuff to Suresh. I'm going to put together the sales plan. I have the sales plan. Suresh is going to, if I'm lucky, he's going to sign off the buying plan. So that's why it's called turning selling to buying. If you're truly going to make some money out of this, or you're going to save some money or get some time you can use productively, or whatever your tasks are, you're going to want to buy. So we have a buying plan. Now, we do, much to Scott's upsetness, we will have to negotiate the buying plan. Because, I'll say to you, so what would it take to get us from where we are to actually an order? Who would have to be involved? So we need people involved. We need to look at the pricing. We look at the purchasing people, the technology. So there's a bunch of people involved in the buying plan. I can tell you, when it says close the deal, because I'm sure a lot of you are thinking close the deal, all right, once in my life have I closed a deal on the day I elicited and found it, and it was $500,000, which was pretty good going, one deal. But that was the only time in my life there hasn't been a buying process. And you signed a piece of paper there and then. Only once in 30 years. Do we like this? How does that look like for an engineering call? Suppose you're going to go and talk to somebody about their engineering needs. Forget sales. Would you start off by building rapport?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you elicit and extend their requirements, their problems? Would you confirm and check for gems? Well, you would now. Would you know you can do it? Say, yeah, I think we can help you there. The difference is the buying plan and the offer. All right, you're going to offer them a solution. I think we can build it like this, but you've got nothing. You might have to convince them of your ability, but you don't have a product, you don't have an offering. And that's the difference. So it's actually very similar up to this point for an engineering sales call. We call it geckos. We have geckos for an engineering requirements call and beckon for a sales call. You don't look inspired about this. Let's go on to some. What sort of outcomes did you have for a sales call? What do we think? I wish I'd done the video now. Sorry?
A deal?
Yes, so you could build a proposal. What else was that?
A deal?
Sorry?
A deal?
A deal, yeah. They could buy it. You could say, yeah, let's go ahead. So you're with the decision maker. What happens if you're not with the decision maker? Suppose it's somebody who really wants to help you, but they're not the decision maker. Do you know what we call them? It's called a sponsor. Okay? So he knows that this would be good for his company, probably good for his division, but he's got no buying authority. He's got the money. So you are now a sponsor. So if that person is a confirmed sponsor, it's in your interest to help me. I can make you look good, I can save money for your division. I don't know what your buying drivers are, but you can introduce me to the boss. What else could happen? No deal. That's there. Qualify out. And the other person, you're talking to the wrong person. I'd love to talk to you, I've got no idea what the problem is. So those are the four major outcomes. Do we know what qualifying is? Anybody here know what qualifying is? Anybody ever heard the word qualification, sales qualification?
Yes.
Who said yeah? Yeah. Sia, you said nothing tonight at all. So tell us what sales qualification is.
Well, sales qualification, first of all, make sure
it's very quiet, Jim.
the person has the interest and also has the budget.
Can you give me a more chunked up definition of the detail you're just giving me? What is the definition of qualification? Hard, isn't it? Could you define qualifying a sale?
Qualifying is a finding or determining the potential buyer.
A definition of qualifying a sale is whether it is worth proceeding with. Do you like that?
I like that.
A qualified sale is one where it's worth proceeding with. If I discovered that he's got the problem I can fix, I've got the technology to fix it, but he's absolutely no way in a month of Sundays is he going to be able to afford it, he's probably going to be a qualified out sale. Now, I don't believe anybody's ever qualified out. It may well be that his company suddenly gets bought, or suddenly has big success, and he will be able to afford it, or get enough value for it. But qualification means, and now Sia can tell us the details, there are several little rules for a sale being qualified. What are they?
The interest, they have the need.
A need, not an the interest starts, then the need.
The need, the mean.
Means? What does that mean?
The budget.
Budget! Right, so So we've got need and budget. What else? I'm really squeezing you here, man.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got a decision-making process, and you've got a decision maker and a timeline. All right, if you've got all 5 of those, then I, as a sales manager, would let you put it onto my sales forecast, probably with a 40% chance of being won. Okay, so you've got a $100,000 deal. I'm going to let you put it on with a 40% chance. If you come back and you only discovered a need and a budget, but you don't have a decision maker, or a decision-making process or a timescale, what do you think I'd let you put it on the sales forecast for? More than 40 or less? Less, 10, 15%. So qualifying is what you do with a sales opportunity. I'm telling you all this because as engineers, whether you're a sales engineer or not, people will use this term. And if you've never heard of qualification, this is a very important term. Where does engineering fit into qualification? Can you do it? You are the people who are going to build the solution. The people are going to deliver it, configure it, maybe build interfaces and stuff like that. So part of the qualification is to flip that can we do it to can we not do it. Is it inside their budget or not in their budget? If you could fix their problem for $3.5 million, but they've only got a $500,000 upside, then really it's not ever going to go in there. But if you're clever engineers, and you can build it for $250,000, then suddenly you've got a real interest in the sales process. Make sense? Okay, that's pretty much it on Beacon. Now, you've got a Beacon Edmund one. So, we have a quick look at these. I think we've done pretty much all of this. We've done rapport. Okay. Elicit. What tools do you use for elicitation? What's the most common tool? Chunking. All right, challenging for value. Tired. Going with a set of tiles. I've got time to explain. You're all a bit tired now. I'm not going to show you this now. Just, don't worry about this screen. Just ignore the screen. All right, so you go into somebody. You've done my training course. You've read my books. You're all full of questions. You want to start asking questions. And suddenly this guy appears. And he says, okay, you've got 15 minutes to give me a pitch. What do you do? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What would you do? Yash? Sorry? Do some more rapport. Now this doesn't look like a man you can do rapport with, does it? He doesn't look very rapport with. You've done the rapport, you said, hello, lovely, talking to you, how's the high top? He says, no, not interested. You've got 15 minutes to give me a pitch. What do you do? So you start with the questions. But he's just sitting on the pitch. Wouldn't that piss him off? You're right. How would you start with the questions? No, look, he just wants you to give him a pitch and you ask him a question. Anybody got an idea? Yeah?
I think that instead of talking for 15 minutes, it's better to ask some question and navigate him.
Yeah, but how do you get this bastard? Look at it. Does he look navigating? So what would you say to him?
Ask him questions.
You just ask the questions like that. He'd slap you around the head. I have literally I walked into, it was another bank, and the guy sat there on the other side of the desk with his arm chest and said, okay, you've got 15 minutes to give me a best pitch. Now I must admit, I wasn't very good at questioning at the time. I gave him a pitch and I lost the sale. 3 years later, as a more experienced salesperson, I engaged with the bank better, found out what they needed and sold them stuff. So it was a really big, look, this is what you do. Everybody look at the screen. This is very important. You've got this bastard here, and it says, okay, there's a lot I could tell you, but I don't want to waste your time with stuff that's not relevant. Do you mind if before I start, I ask you a few questions to make the best of your time? All right? Do you mind if I ask you a few questions to make best use of your time? So you wanted to ask the questions. Is anybody going to ever say no to that second question? Do you mind if before I start, I ask you a few questions to make best use of your time? It's beautifully, and I want you to only say this. Do not make up some oh, I don't really like saying that, I've got better words. These are the words you say. So look at the second set on there. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So do you mind if before I start, I ask a few questions to make best use of your time? All right, we're going to do it once more. 1, 2, 3. So do you mind if before I start, I ask a few questions? And you see, every time you say it, it's easier, isn't it? And there's going to be one more thing I'm going to make you say later on. But this is now, here's the thing. I used to teach this as a basket stopper, all right? But actually, it's a really good way of opening every meeting where you want to discover stuff from people. So I now teach this as not the first one, the second part. Just start with me and say, hey, really nice to talk to you. Do you mind if before we start, I ask you a few questions for it? I make best use of your time. There is some very clever psychology going here. You see this before I start? With this guy, it's before I start the pitch. All right? And if it's with a finance person, before I talk about the money. If it's with an operations person, before I start talking about the operations. So it's a really nice piece of psychology. So do you mind if before I start, I'm not saying when I'm starting, they will assume you're going to start what they want. I'll ask you a few questions to make best use of your time. What's the buying driver? Best use of your time. All right? So it's a really nice, strong buying driver.
What in case you told me no?
Sorry? Yeah, of course. When you said tell you no, you sent me an email back. Because I was just about to say, I have taught this for 18 years. And I've always said, if you use this phrase, please send me an email back if you get no for an answer. I have never had an email. I have literally trained hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pure, full-on commissioned salespeople to use this phrase. I've never had anybody come back with a no.
I met with some guys, they will say, you know, once you go for a meeting, they will tell you have 5 minutes. Tell me what you want.
Yeah,
so you have this problem, tell me 5 minutes how you can solve it.
Okay, yeah, no problem at all. Very happy to tell you. Come on, you're making me do it. Come on, say the words and I'll tell you what I say.
Okay, you have 5 minutes to tell me what you're going to do.
There's a hell of a lot of ways I can solve this problem. If you let me ask you 2 questions, I can do it in 3 minutes. Do you like that? Yeah. All right? Do you see that you can do it, even with a complete bastard? I only got 2 questions, but that's more than you've got. And the buying drive was I said I could do it in 3 minutes. There you go. All right, good. So, C questions. Open questions. What's the definition of an open question? Not that's a kind of negative answer. It's completely open. Think of having your arms open. And that's how you start a meeting. Do you want me to fix your computers or your printers? That's pretty closed. All right? So, the sorts of C questions we have. Tell me about the situation. Where do you want to be in so much time? Why have you brought me here? Looking back in 12 months' time, how will we know we've had some sort of success? So these are open questions. Now, these are just some samples. I want you to take this PDF away with you. When you're preparing for anything that looks like a sales call, look at these and inspire yourself. You generally, if you do a lot of engineering calls for a particular product, maybe you have a job where you have to go out to customers, you'll find there are about half a dozen and you're just playing the changes, all right? So open a C question, they give you an answer. What's the first thing you do when they give you an answer? No!
Keyword.
What?
Get the keyword from the...
No! You listen. No, I know you all laugh. You pause it. Have they given me information? Have they given me another question back? Have they answered my question? Is there hard data in here, or is there an opinion? This is not sales camp. If you want to learn how to be very, very good at all this stuff, come to my sales camp in the summer. But you listen, and you listen actively, and you work out what it is they've answered. You can find out about them and their situation. And then once you've listened, what do you do?
Keywords.
Yes, keywords. Pick up keywords, and use those keywords for what? Next question. All right, so question, answer, listen. Question, answer, listen. That's the sequence. And along the way, you're navigating towards what? Potential takeaways. I know that in an engineering distribution company like this, I could probably save them time filling their trucks, I could probably reduce their fuel consumption, and possibly make their drivers happier so they're less likely to leave. So those are the 3 buying drivers that whatever the hell it is that I'm selling. So I only want my conversation to go there and there and there. I don't want it to go over here with some other buying driver I can't help with. And if the customer goes there, you've got to be able to say, well, we don't do that, but we do this, and move it somewhere else. So you navigate the conversation where you want it to be, and you use that using what are called navigation questions. So besides you, who else would benefit from that? Are you involved in this? Move people somewhere? I don't want to talk about pens, I want to talk about ink. Okay? So this is where you move the conversation around. How many business units do this sort of thing? How many people don't have to? And move the conversation around. We haven't got time to talk about it now, you'll see it in the video. I'm very keen to get the video done. And then there's valuation question, how much would that be worth to you? I'm going to whip through these, come on to the video because I want you to confirm gems, that's all right, it's all in the PRS, let's begin. I'm going to get you to watch the video. Do you want to watch the video? All right, the video's 10 minutes. Oh, I tell you, let's go with the captions. I'm going to show you the sales call with the stuff in the right-hand side on the screen. That'll be better, won't it? Okay, so let's do that. Then when it's finished, anybody who wants to can go. Anybody who wants to sit and discuss the video, which will take 5 minutes, can do so. Fully happy? Well, it's I would expect you will probably be writing, it's a 3-hour exam. Most of you will be done in 2 hours, of which about 1 hour and 3/4, an hour and a half would be writing. The rest will be spreadsheet. All right? Okay, is everybody watching the screen? Close your laptops, put your phones down, and enjoy this. I hope we're going to have some sound.
Hi, Trevor. How are you?
Very well indeed, and yourself?
I'm good. Good.
It's lovely to see the sunshine.
It is. It's a nice change. I was up at the cottage over the weekend. It's beautiful up there this time.
Yeah, whereabouts is it?
Oh, it's up in the Muskokas. You know, it's quite a ways up, but it's a beautiful drive. And, you know, we just let it.
Now we're a bit closer. We're up Otter Lake, but that's been really, really nice up there as well.
And by the way, thanks for sending that video over. Really enjoyed it. Well, watched it last night a few times. It looks like an interesting project. Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, it was quite long. It was about 3 or 4 weeks that we were there. It's a very similar company to yourself, and the guy is very similar. I think probably the overall numbers would be a little bit different, but the technology is very similar.
Okay. Have a seat.
Thanks very much.
All right. Let's get down to business. I don't have a lot of time. Just give me your pitch.
No problem. But do you mind if before we start, I ask you a few questions so that I make best use of your time?
Yeah!
Of course, not a problem. Well, I understand from our phone call that you look after corporate reporting systems. What improvements are you looking to take away from working with a supplier? I mean, what keeps you awake at night?
Well, that's a good question. I think my biggest headache is the returns and getting them to run reliably. Because you see, we have a limited amount of computer power here.
So what precisely do you mean by the returns?
Well, these are daily reports that we run for the head office, and we run them nightly. And we run them here, and they get shipped off to the head office for them to analyze.
So can you give me an example of the problems that you have with the returns?
Well, it's a real drag that these things take a lot of time. They take an enormous amount of time. I got to pay my staff overtime, and I got to get them processed, and I got to get them shipped out to head office in time for their returns in the morning.
And what's the purpose of the extract?
Well, the extract sends a lot of data to headquarters, which they analyze so that they keep track of all their production requirements and schedule their work.
So can you give me an example?
Yeah, the FMCG turnover report is one. This is a huge report. It's about 30 gigs in size. It's all XML. We created one of our systems.
Let's not worry about the technology for the moment. What's the purpose of that report?
Well, it's to process the main lines of business so that head office can do their profitability analysis before opening time, and then they can adjust their promotions and their pricings, you know, for the day. This is actually one of the reasons why our company is so profitable.
So can you give me an example of another report, please?
Then there's the transactions report, which we build item by item, which highlights everything that we do here.
And what's the purpose of that report?
Well, it calculates our profits and our turnover. It does all the same types of analysis.
And what do you get out of it?
Well, pretty much nothing. I mean, I get everything I need from our systems. You know, when it's not being closed down by these painfully slow returns.
Are there any other reports that are a pain?
No, these are the ones that take up most of the time.
And what does the head office get out of these reports?
Well, they make us do all the work here to save them the money of buying bigger mainframes.
Ah, right, I see. So how so?
Well, the truth is that they're really short on processing power, but they're also really short on money. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to really reduce the capital expenditures. They're trying to save money because they've got to be prepared to fight this big love loss thing that's going on.
So let me get this right. Once we've got the HQ system working better, you wouldn't actually take any business benefit away from that project.
Well, you're not quite right, because I would save on overtime. I'm spending a ton of money on overtime, so I'd save on the overtime and it would cause a whole lot less stress for everybody involved.
So you're looking to run these reports quicker and with less effort and less stress. Is it hitting your bottom line as well?
Yes, you're so right.
So, forgive my ignorance, but how much would it be worth to head office to fix this problem? I mean, for instance, how much is it costing them at the moment to run their systems?
Last I heard, they were staring at about $2.5 million just to stay current.
And what system do they run?
Well, it's actually a very old and cranky IBM thing that they've been running for years. It's actually the biggest in the world.
And what will happen if this problem doesn't get solved?
Well, if the problem doesn't get solved, HQ's load is going to be huge, which means the store's load is going to get huge, and it's going to get to the point where no amount of overtime is going to get these reports done by the time we open, and that will be costly. That will be hugely costly because we won't be able to do business in the morning.
How much would very costly be?
Well, I really have no idea, but somebody at HQ knows, for sure.
Okay, so besides you, who else would benefit from solving this problem with HQ's processing power?
Oh, I'd say about 156 store managers.
I see. So if we weren't able to get headquarters to do this processing properly, and would take less time and money, then they would benefit because they get better results, etc. But you, all of you, would also benefit in terms of time and stress, and I suspect overtime as well.
You got it.
So, in summary, your company is looking for a system that will run better in headquarters, and the benefits will be there and in the shops as well.
You're absolutely correct.
So is there anything else that you could take away from installing such a system?
Well, there is one thing. We're highly exposed, actually. If our system goes down, if the run goes down through the night, then my support costs me an arm and a leg to spend the night fixing this thing and getting it back up and running before the extracts due in the morning.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, actually, yeah, I play softball every Friday. But the problem is that with the way things are, I never know if I'm going to get out of here on time to make it to the game. I never know what position I'm going to play, and it kind of actually makes my wife a little bit cranky because she doesn't like it when I don't get enough exercise. So it kind of screws up the softball thing a bit.
Okay, so you're looking for greater processing power, lower cost, and less stress. And you want it sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And if you could supply all that, that would make a big change in my business and a big change in my life.
Well, that's just great, because it's exactly what we do.
Yes.
Really? Yeah. We've been one of the largest outsourcing companies for the central government for about 20 years now. And as a result of our success in that, we started a subsidiary. And their focus is on doing the same sort of thing, but for commercial companies. And we split the technology away from the business, which has huge ramifications on the cost of the company. Not only that, but the team that built that have developed a thing called Quick Start, which means they can go from 0 to live running in 3 months. In fact, we did a recent project that was audited by Accenture, and we had some really quite remarkable results from that. Inside this audit report, there's also a financial discussion of exactly the financial benefits that came from that project. The company that were involved will be very happy to take a call from you if that was necessary. How does that sort of solution feel to you? Does it look right?
Yeah, that sounds great, but you know, I have no say in what happens in head office.
No, I understand that completely, but would the incentive of being able to solve your problems be enough for you to put me in touch with the right people in head office? And in fact, would it be useful for me to help you in building the business case? We have some standard templates that we built from previous projects, and we've taken figures from Gartner that we've had independently audited, and we take some figures from the customers, and it makes it very much easier for somebody like yourself to take a business case up the line. Would that be of interest to you?
Well, it would be pretty good to have a full business case. And, you know, it probably wouldn't do my career any harm. It would probably help me at home in my personal life and my health. So, yeah, it sounds like a good idea.
Okay then, so who should you arrange for me to see in head office? And in fact, could you tell me about them?
Yeah, sure, of course. But, you know, before we get into that, I got to tell you, you've approached this whole thing in such a refreshing way. And, you know, the reason I say that is there was a colleague of yours here earlier this year, and all she really did was she sort of pounded me with, you know, products and features and benefits and functions, and she happened to hit on a couple of important things, and that's why I called you back. So what's changed?
Well, I was trained by a company called Honourable.
Yes!
And sales successes have grown by 50% since we took the selling workshops. Okay, so what do you think? Does that make sense now when you see it in a call? That was a pretty complicated call. And I've actually got various versions of this, which are cheaper and simpler. But does that look like the sort of call you can do? Do you like it? Attila, you don't look convinced.
You covered everything we saw since the beginning of the board.
All right, so it does.
It's hard to apply.
Right, so Attila's correct. This is really hard stuff, which is why you've got this. The most important thing of all, not that I'm picking on Tashana or anything, but don't do the pitch right at the beginning. Are you convinced the better place to do the pitch is after you've done the questions?
Yeah.
Because I did a hell of a pitch, didn't I?
So I do have a question.
Yeah.
You go prepared with your offering and your product.
And your tyres.
Yeah, and your tyres, and you go to them, you ask them a bunch of questions. So do you give them the same pitch that you prepared, or do you change it on the spot?
No, there's no such thing as a prepared pitch. I don't know, I didn't got a chance to. I used his own situation to tell the stories. So when you do the pitch, you use a pitch using their examples. So the delivery narrative was a delivery narrative into a company like his, because he then gets sucked into it. So you're right, it's not. It's a beautifully crafted mini pitch that exactly fits their situation. And if he's really only interested in his own career, and the money's less relevant, then you'll focus it in a different way. So yeah, you're giving a pitch, but it's different every single time. Anybody got any other questions? Flee, my children, flee. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. A lot of work in that video, I'll tell you, a lot of work.